Now we're all together. And so we have dealt with AP 20-28 in closed session. And so I'm ready to entertain a motion.
I move to render a finding of sustained based on a preponderance of evidence for appeal AP 20-28, which rose from complaint 20-10.
Do I hear a second?
A second.
Thank you, Ms. Kendall. Let's do a roll call vote.
Sorry, go ahead.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Rice,
Yes.
Mr. Allegretti,
Yes.
Ms. Kendall,
Yes.
Mr. Diaz.
Yes.
Motion carried.
So this case had two prongs that I want to make a couple of comments on. Members of the board, if you'd like to correct me, we are dealing with keeping confidentiality, but I think the issues in these two cases, as suggested, ought to have a little bit of some explanation for the record and for understanding. There were several issues talked about. A major one was a major section of them had to do with Open Meetings Act. And then the next one had to do with misconduct or alleged misconduct, which were investigated. On the OMA information, Open Meetings Act, we found that the CPRB is not the place to have judgment on. There is the Attorney General is the one that has that jurisdiction for violations of the Open Meetings Act. One thing that I learned tonight is that when there is a supposed violation, I don't have the technical language, then the proper procedure is to file a complaint with the Attorney General, and the investigation goes from there. It does not come back to us, and it does not, there is no provision in that ordinance, it looks like, for an enforcement by a police officer. It is handled as a complaint to the Attorney General. Did I see that correctly? Okay, so that was a part then that was handled. The other part had to do with conduct of officer, misconduct of officer, possibly, and that is where this board especially felt that they had the jurisdiction and voted. One clear learning from here, and we want to make this just general knowledge. It is true that residents should never be required to cite a particular police procedure or police policy number to express their dissatisfaction. If somebody has a dissatisfaction, is unhappy with the treatment or with the conduct of an officer, they should say so. Plain language ought to be expressed, and it is for other formats in probably other situations in which the specific number of a policy would be cited. In our forum, we'd like to be as fair as possible for equal language, and therefore the resident and the police department can make their observations understandable to each other. Is there anything else that I should add, members of the board? Okay. I tried really hard because I think it was a very good suggestion. So I think it's time then. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.